Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of These Things Are Written. We are continuing with Acts chapter 6, the rest of it beginning with verse 8. Yesterday was the selecting of the seven deacons to spread, to help with the distribution of the food, to take some of the pressure off the apostles and to help in the daily distribution of food. One of them, the one that seems to be set apart a little bit, is Stephen. And we read more about Stephen in this passage and actually in the next few to come as well. And Stephen, full of grace and power, was doing great wonders and signs among the people. Then some of those who belonged to the synagogue of the freedmen, as it was called, and of the Cyrenes, and of the Alexandrians, and those from Cilicia and Asia, rose up and disputed with Stephen. But they could not withstand the wisdom and the spirit with which he was speaking. Then they secretly instigated men who said, "We have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and God." And they stirred up the people and the elders and the scribes, and they came upon him and seized him and brought him before the council. And they set up false witnesses who said, "This man never ceases to speak words against the holy place and the law. For we have heard him say that Jesus of Nazareth will destroy this place and will change customs that Moses delivered to us." And gazing at him, all who sat in the council saw that his face was like the face of an angel. This is the word of the Lord. Remember that Stephen was chosen to be an assistant, someone to oversee the daily distribution of the food. So what was he doing? Doing the task of one of the apostles, of healing different people, of doing great wonders and signs among the people. What was he doing? Well, he was full of grace and power, it says. God had given him the gift to heal. It's an amazing gift that he did. And really it is showing that Stephen was a man full of faith, that God had other plans for him as well. But then people rose up against him. In the English Standard Version from which I read, it talks about the synagogue of the freedmen. Now, about 100 years before this, about 100 Jews were taken into slavery from Jerusalem into Rome. Now, some of them and some of their descendants, I should say, were freed and were able to return to Jerusalem. The synagogue of the freedmen and of the Cyrenians and of the Alexandrians were all really people who were Hellenistic Jews from other areas who had adapted into the culture of the Jews, but of the Greeks, but yet remained Jews by faith. And it's interesting that they were standing up against another Hellenist, another one who had the name, a Greek name, and who spoke about this man, Jesus. And that was the problem. They argued with Stephen, but they lost. And then they brought up false witnesses. Kind of reminds you of another story in the Bible. Who was that they brought? Oh, yeah, that's right, Jesus, right? When they were trying him before the Sanhedrin council, they brought false witnesses against him, and even their their testimonies wouldn't agree with each other. They were saying that he was speaking against Moses and God, but they never said what he was speaking about against them. At this point, a little bit later on, it does, but even that is questionable. Remember that speaking against Moses was almost as bad as speaking against God. When Jesus was speaking with the Jews, often they would go to Moses and hold him up as the greatest, not realizing that Jesus was one who came to fulfill the promises of Moses, that Moses in many ways foreshadowed the great prophet Jesus who would come, who would be more than a prophet. They caused and stirred up a commotion, much like they did against Jesus. And then, as it says in verse 12, and they came upon him and seized him and brought him before the council. Those words that are used almost was like a lion stalking its prey and pouncing on them. There were more false witnesses, more people who claimed that they had heard him say that Jesus of Nazareth would destroy this place, the temple, and would change the customs that Moses delivered to us. Now, Jesus talked about the destruction of the temple, but he never said that he would do that. He was talking about it in John 2, not the temple, the physical temple, but the temple of his body that he would raise after they put him to death. But like the devil, like Satan in Genesis chapter 3, they took a little bit of the truth and turned it into a lie. The lie that Jesus would do this. Jesus foresaw what would happen. He was not the one who would destroy the temple. He knew that it would happen. And he didn't come to set aside the customs. He came to fulfill the law that Moses had given and to fulfill those customs and the worship that foreshadowed him and what he would do. But in the end, as Stephen was standing trial before the Sanhedrin, that last verse 15, and gazing at him, all who sat in the council saw that his face was like the face of an angel. Some people say that this was a sign that he was at peace and was calm. But yet they use the face of an angel. Maybe it was radiant or bright. We don't know. But we do know this, that Jesus says when they hold you before me, or before trial, before the councils and before the princes and rulers, don't worry what you're going to say, because the Spirit will guide you. You see, he was at peace. He knew that God's Spirit was with him and would guide him in all things. We'll read more about Stephen in the next week and the defense that he gave and what would happen to him coming up as well. Go in peace now and serve the Lord. Amen.